Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me right now. There comes a moment in every person's life when you look in the mirror and the reflection staring back at you isn't the full version of who you were created to be. It's a version shaped by opinions, crushed by disappointment, distracted by the noise, and weakened by delay. But here's the truth. You are not your past, and you are not your pain. You are potential in motion. This moment right now isn't just another second ticking by. It's a divine invitation. An invitation to rebuild, to reconstruct the walls of confidence, lay a new foundation of discipline, and reframe your identity with the truth of who you really are. Your focus is the single most important factor in shaping your future. Every moment you invest in directing your attention towards something, whether positive or negative, is a moment that adds to the construction of your life's reality. What you focus on determines where your energy flows. And where your energy flows, that's where growth happens. If you allow yourself to be distracted by everything around you, distractions from social media, opinions of others, fears of failure or past disappointments, then you're building a future based on those distractions. You're unknowingly constructing a life that aligns with the noise and not with your true purpose. When you focus on your goals, dreams, and the person you want to become, you open up an entirely different possibility for your life. Focus brings clarity. It clears the fog, helping you to see your true path. The power of focus is that it allows you to ignore the trivialities of life and hone in on what really matters. If you're spending your time and energy on things that don't align with your vision, you're just wasting resources. The truth is, the more clearly you can focus on your purpose, the faster you can manifest the life you're meant to lead. Every successful person, every leader, every person who has ever made a lasting impact on the world has mastered the art of focus. It's not about working hard, it's about working smart and directing your efforts towards a clear and defined target. When your focus is sharp and unyielding, you develop the discipline to push through obstacles that would otherwise derail you. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and become the creator of your future. It's the difference between drifting aimlessly and navigating with precision. But focus doesn't happen by accident. It's a skill that must be developed and nurtured. It requires discipline and a deep understanding of what's truly important to you. You can't afford to let distractions pull you away from your mission. The world is filled with noise. And if you're not intentional about where you place your attention, you'll end up caught in that noise. And when you're caught in the noise, you lose your direction. Your vision becomes blurred, and you find yourself walking in circles, unsure of what you're even working towards. One of the most important aspects of focus is the ability to say no to the things that don't serve you. Saying no isn't just about rejecting distractions, it's about protecting your energy. When you focus on the right things, you make room for what truly matters, your growth, your relationships, your goals. You give yourself the opportunity to nurture the things that will help you level up. And this process of learning to say no might be uncomfortable at first, but it's necessary for your success. Without boundaries, your focus is scattered, and scattered focus leads to scattered results. In order to focus, you must first have a clear vision of where you want to go. If you don't know where you're headed, any path will seem right. When you know exactly what you want to achieve, your focus sharpens. You become a magnet for the resources, opportunities, and people that align with that vision. Focus is not just about blocking out distractions. It's about aligning everything in your life with your end goal. Every decision, every action, every conversation becomes a stepping stone toward that greater vision. The more laser focused you are, the more you begin to attract the results you desire. Focus also requires sacrifice. It's the willingness to let go of things that may feel good in the moment, but don't contribute to your growth in the long term. This might mean letting go of habits, relationships, or even environments that aren't helping you elevate. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, you realize that every choice matters. The small decisions add up, and when you're intentional about those decisions, they compound over time into major breakthroughs. Your future is not a result of one big decision. It's a result of thousands of small, focused choices. Focus has the power to create momentum. Once you begin focusing on the right things, it's like a snowball effect. The more you focus, the more you build, and the more you build, the easier it becomes to keep going. Momentum breeds confidence, and confidence propels you forward. This cycle of focused effort leads to consistent progress, and over time, your efforts stack up to create results that you may have once thought were impossible. When you truly understand that your focus shapes your future, you stop wasting time and you start taking bold, intentional actions that lead you closer to your dreams. Pain is not an anomaly in the journey of success. It is an essential component of the process. The truth is, growth does not happen in comfort zones. It doesn't happen in easy situations or when things are simply going your way. The most significant transformations in life occur when you are pushed to your limits, when you experience discomfort, and when things don't seem to be going the way you planned. Pain, in this sense, is not a punishment. It is a catalyst. It is the necessary friction that forces you to stretch beyond your current capacity. When you face pain, whether emotional, physical, or mental, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking something is wrong or that the universe is somehow against you. But the reality is that pain is a signal. It's telling you that you're being stretched, that you're evolving, and that you're moving towards something greater. Pain is growth disguised in discomfort. The pain you feel today is the resistance that will mold you into a stronger, more resilient person tomorrow. It's like the pressure that forms diamonds from raw coal. Most people see pain as an obstacle to avoid, but the most successful individuals understand that pain is a powerful teacher. When you experience pain, you learn valuable lessons that you can't gain from any other source. It teaches you patience, endurance, and resilience. It reveals your true strength, showing you that you are capable of far more than you ever thought possible. Those who shy away from pain never experience the depth of growth available to them. It's only through pain that you are forced to confront your limits and then break through them. Pain also teaches you humility. It humbles you and helps you see the areas of your life that need improvement. It forces you to acknowledge that you don't have all the answers and that you need to adapt. You may experience pain in the form of failure, loss, or rejection, but it is in these moments that you're given the opportunity to reset, reevaluate, and refine your approach. Pain shows you your weaknesses so that you can transform them into strengths. Without pain, there would be no real learning. Without pain, there would be no real progress. Embracing pain also teaches you to have a long-term perspective. The most successful individuals are not those who avoid short-term discomfort for the sake of temporary pleasure. They are the ones who understand that the pain of today will lead to the reward of tomorrow. They endure the discomfort of discipline, of sacrifices, and of setbacks because they have a vision that extends far beyond the present moment. Pain forces you to stay the course when things aren't going your way and when it seems like the world is against you. It strengthens your resolve to keep moving forward. The more you learn to embrace pain, the more resilient you become. You start to see obstacles as opportunities to grow rather than insurmountable barriers. Every setback becomes a lesson in disguise. Every disappointment reveals a path to a better strategy. With every painful experience, you become less afraid of the future and more confident in your ability to navigate. Pain is no longer something to fear, but something to understand and respect because you know it's leading you to a greater version of yourself. Pain also builds your character. It shapes the person you are becoming. It forges in you qualities like perseverance, grit, and tenacity. traits that cannot be cultivated in easy circumstances. Without pain, your ability to endure would never be tested, and without testing, you wouldn't know the depth of your capabilities. It is in the fire of adversity that your true character is revealed. The challenges you face, the difficulties you endure, and the pain you experience are the things that will ultimately mold you into the person you need to be to accomplish your goals. Lastly, pain is a necessary part of the process because it forces you to grow beyond your current capacity. When life gets difficult, it pushes you to expand your skills, to think differently, and to find creative solutions. Pain forces you to level up in ways that comfort simply cannot. It stretches you. It asks you to rise higher, to reach further, and to become stronger than you've ever been before. And while the experience of pain can be uncomfortable, the rewards that come from overcoming it are invaluable. When you come out on the other side, you'll find that you are not the same person you were before. It is through pain that you become your greatest version. You are not defined by your past, no matter how much weight it carries, no matter how many mistakes you've made, or how many doors have been closed in your face. The past is simply a collection of experiences, but it does not have the power to dictate who you are or who you are becoming. It is not the sum of your worth or your potential. What matters is not the story you've lived, but the story you choose to write moving forward. Your past may be a chapter, but it is not the whole book, and it certainly isn't the final chapter. Too often people allow their past to trap them. They let the things they've done, the decisions they regret, or the failures they've encountered become the lens through which they view their entire existence. They wear their past like a cloak, allowing it to shape their identity and limit their future. But here's the truth. Your past is a teacher, not a jailer. It was there to help you learn, grow, and evolve. It wasn't meant to define you. It was meant to refine you. Every mistake, every setback, every heartache is a lesson, not a life sentence. The power you have lies in your ability to choose who you want to become today, regardless of what yesterday looked like. Your future is not tied to your past actions, but to your present decisions. You can start over at any moment. You don't have to wait for a certain time, a specific event, or a perfect moment to begin again. Each day, you are given a new opportunity to create a different outcome. Your choices today shape the trajectory of your life, and those choices are yours to make, free from the chains of your past. In fact, the more you embrace the idea that you are not defined by your past, the more freedom you give yourself to reinvent your life. When you let go of the burden of past mistakes and disappointments, you free up space to grow and evolve in ways you never thought possible. You stop being held hostage by old narratives that tell you that you are a failure or that you aren't worthy of success. Instead, you begin to see yourself as a person capable of transformation, capable of creating a future that reflects your true potential. The truth is, we all have a past, and it's impossible to erase it. But we do have control over how we choose to view it. You can either let it define you and hold you back, or you can use it as fuel to push forward. You can choose to learn from it rather than let it control you. It's easy to get stuck in a cycle of self-pity and regret, but those emotions will only keep you anchored in the past. If you want to change your life, you must let go of the weight of your history and step into the present with a renewed sense of purpose. You have the ability to redefine who you are, to reshape your identity according to your dreams and aspirations. The person you were yesterday does not have to be the person you are today. Growth is not about perfection, it's about progression. And every single day you have the opportunity to take steps forward, no matter how small. Your past may have given you scars, but those scars do not dictate your worth. In fact, they are proof that you survived, learned, and are capable of overcoming anything. When you realize that you are not defined by your past, you also realize that you are not bound by the opinions or judgments of others. Too often people allow the perceptions of those around them to shape their self-image. They let what others think of them become the reality they live in. But the truth is, the opinions of others do not have the power to define you unless you give them permission. You are not who others say you are who you choose to become. The moment you let go of the belief that your past defines you, you step into your power. You begin to understand that you are not a product of your circumstances, but a creator of your future. You stop being a victim of what's already happened and become the architect of what's to come. The most powerful shift happens when you realize that your past does not have the final say in your life. You do. And with that realization comes the freedom to build a future that aligns with your deepest desires and highest potential. Rebuilding is not a one-time event. It is a daily commitment to your growth and transformation. It requires you to show up consistently and intentionally day after day, whether you feel like it or not. The process of rebuilding yourself is much like constructing a building. You don't build a skyscraper in a day. It takes time, effort, and a clear vision. The foundation must be laid first, and that foundation must be strong enough to support everything that comes after it. This foundation is built piece by piece, brick by brick, with every small, deliberate action you take toward becoming the person you want to be. Every day presents an opportunity to take one more step toward your goals. And those small, incremental steps add up over time. Rebuilding requires patience. It's about focusing on the process, not just the outcome. Too often we become discouraged because the results are not immediate, but it's important to remember that nothing great happens overnight. Growth takes time, and real transformation happens in the small, often unnoticed moments. It happens when you show up and put in the work, even when the progress feels slow, even when the results aren't visible yet. Rebuilding also requires consistency. The effort must be daily and it must be sustained over time. Consistency is what separates those who make it from those who quit. It's easy to start something with enthusiasm, but it's the ability to continue, to show up day after day that truly leads to success. There will be days when you don't feel like it, when life gets tough, and when it seems like everything is working against you. But those are the days when your commitment to the process matters most. It's when you keep going despite the challenges that you start to build momentum. The effort required to rebuild yourself isn't always glamorous. It's not always about the big dramatic moments. In fact, it's often in the quiet, persistent actions that the real change occurs. It's about making small, positive choices every day that lead to long-term growth, whether it's waking up early to work on your goals, taking time to reflect on your actions, or pushing yourself through moments of doubt. Every action you take builds upon the last one. These moments compound, and over time, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. Rebuilding requires discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's about resisting the temptation to take shortcuts or give in to instant gratification. True rebuilding requires a level of sacrifice. It's the willingness to give up what feels good in the moment for something greater in the future. You must choose what will help you grow, even if it means saying no to things that pull you away from your goals. The effort required to rebuild may be challenging, but it's the discipline to stay on course that will determine your success. Along with discipline, rebuilding requires a mindset shift. You must believe that change is possible and that you are capable of creating the life you desire. If you don't believe that rebuilding is possible, then no amount of effort will ever be enough. Your mindset determines the lens through which you see every challenge and every opportunity. If you view obstacles as permanent roadblocks, rebuilding becomes a daunting task. But if you see challenges as opportunities to grow, then rebuilding becomes an exciting journey, one where each setback is just a stepping stone toward a greater future. Rebuilding also demands self-awareness. You must be willing to look at yourself honestly and confront the areas where you need to improve. This is often the hardest part because it requires vulnerability and a willingness to admit that you're not perfect. But it is through this honest reflection that you can identify the habits, beliefs, and behaviors that no longer serve you and replace them with ones that will propel you forward. Rebuilding yourself is a constant process of evaluating, adjusting, and growing. And this requires a deep level of self-awareness and a commitment to personal honesty. Rebuilding is a choice. It's a choice you make every single day, whether you're actively working on your goals or simply focusing on being the best version of yourself. You choose to put in the effort, to stay disciplined, to believe in the process, and to keep moving forward even when it's difficult. Rebuilding is not something that happens by accident. It's the result of daily choices. And those choices shape the person you will become. Each decision, each action, and each step you take is part of the journey of becoming who you were always meant to be. Taking action is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Dreams, goals, and aspirations will remain nothing more than fleeting thoughts and empty wishes unless you make the decision to act on them. The difference between those who achieve and those who don't is action. It's not enough to simply think about what you want to do, talk about your goals, or even plan endlessly for the perfect moment. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The only moment that matters is now. You must act now, today, regardless of how you feel or the circumstances surrounding you. Action is what turns potential into reality. Without action, nothing changes. We live in a world filled with distractions, excuses, and endless possibilities for delay. It's easy to get stuck in analysis paralysis, overwhelmed by all the options and details that you believe you need to figure out before you take a step. But this is where most people get caught. They spend so much time thinking, planning, and preparing that they never actually move. They convince themselves that they need more information, more resources, more time. But the truth is, you will never have everything you need. You will never have all the answers, and you'll never feel completely ready. The key is to act in spite of the uncertainty. Action is what creates clarity, and the more you act, the clearer your path becomes. Action is also what builds momentum. Momentum is a powerful force, and it is created by consistent action. When you take one small step toward your goal, you gain confidence and energy. That momentum pushes you forward, making it easier to continue. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. The more you do, the easier it becomes to keep doing. Inaction, on the other hand, breeds stagnation and self-doubt. The longer you wait, the more difficult it becomes to take that first step. But once you begin, the momentum builds, and you find yourself naturally moving toward your goals with greater ease and determination. Taking action is also a way of showing yourself in the world that you are serious about your dreams. If you claim to want something but do nothing to pursue it, then your words hold no weight. Your actions speak louder than anything you can say. When you commit to action, you prove to yourself that you are worthy of success. Every step you take affirms your belief in your own potential. It shows that you trust in your ability to overcome challenges and make progress even when the road is tough. The more you act, the more you reinforce the idea that you are capable of achieving what you set out to do. One of the most powerful things about taking action is that it teaches you to embrace failure as part of the process. People who don't take action often fear failure so much that they avoid even trying. But failure is not something to fear. It's a stepping stone. Every time you take action, you are giving yourself the opportunity to learn, adjust, and improve. Failure is not the end. It's part of the journey towards success. By taking action, you stop being afraid of failure and start using it to your advantage. Each mistake you make is simply feedback that guides you closer to the right approach. Taking action also builds confidence. The more you take steps toward your goals, the more you prove to yourself that you are capable of achieving them. Confidence isn't something that just appears out of thin air. It's developed through consistent action. When you take a step forward, even if it's a small one, you increase your belief in your ability to succeed. Each action reinforces your self-worth and helps you overcome the doubts that try to hold you back. The more action you take, the more confident you become in your ability to handle whatever challenges come your way. Furthermore, taking action is an expression of commitment. It shows that you are willing to put in the effort required to reach your goals. Commitment is not about making grand promises. It's about the small, consistent actions you take every day that demonstrate your dedication to your dreams. Every time you choose to take action, you reinforce your commitment to your vision. It's easy to say you want something, but taking consistent, deliberate action is what makes your commitment real. It's in those moments when you push through resistance and continue moving forward that your commitment is truly tested. Taking action is the only way to bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. You can dream all you want, you can plan endlessly, and you can visualize your success, but until you act, you will remain exactly where you are. Your goals will remain dreams without action. The bridge between your current situation and your desired future is made up of the actions you take. Action is what moves you from thinking to doing, from wishing to achieving. Without it, nothing happens. The key to transforming your life is not just thinking about it, talking about it, or even planning for it. It's about doing something, anything, that moves you forward. Action is non-negotiable because it is the force that transforms your vision into reality. You were meant for more than what you see in your current circumstances. You were designed for greatness, for something bigger than the limitations you may perceive in your life right now. Often we get so caught up in the daily grind, in the routines and responsibilities, that we forget the inherent potential within us. But deep down, there is a stirring, a call to step beyond what is familiar and venture into the realm of possibility. You are not here to merely exist, to get by or live in mediocrity. You were created to accomplish great things, to make an impact and to leave a legacy. The first step in realizing that you were meant for more is to believe that your current situation does not define your potential. Where you are now does not determine where you can go. The challenges you face today are not indicators of your final destination. They are just obstacles to be overcome. Too many people allow their circumstances to limit their view of what's possible. They think that because they've faced hardship, failure, or struggle, they are somehow less worthy of success. But the truth is, these experiences are shaping you into the person who is capable of achieving more than you've ever imagined. They are preparing you for what's next. Realizing that you were meant for more also means embracing the fact that your dreams are not too big or out of reach. We often shrink our goals because we believe they are unattainable. We downsize our vision to match our current reality rather than allowing ourselves to imagine a future that's bigger than our present. But you were not created to play small. You were not made to settle for a life that doesn't challenge you, that doesn't push you to become the best version of yourself. Your potential is limitless, and your capacity for growth, achievement, and success far exceeds what you've allowed yourself to believe. When you begin to understand that you are meant for more, it shifts the way you view failure. Failure is not the end of the road, it's a sign that you're on the right path. Every great success story is riddled with failure, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But those who achieve greatness do not let failure define them. Instead, they use it as a stepping stone, a lesson that brings them one step closer to their ultimate goal. You were meant for more, and that means you are going to face challenges. But these challenges are not signs that you aren't capable. They are proof that you are growing and expanding into something greater. Understanding that you were meant for more also requires letting go of the fear that holds you back. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, and fear of judgment are powerful forces that can paralyze you from taking the next step. But the truth is, fear is a natural part of the journey. It's not something that will ever completely disappear, but it is something you must learn to move through rather than around. The more you face your fears and take action despite them, the more you prove to yourself that you are capable of overcoming anything. Fear is not a sign that you're not meant for more. It's a sign that you are about to step into something new, something extraordinary. Part of realizing that you were meant for more